welcome back to Let's Talk Assassin's Creed, your number one podcast for all things Assassin's Creed. In today's episode we're going to do a first for the series, and that is look at highlights. And highlights is going to be a monthly section of one episode where I highlight the latest news or topics that have cropped up in the Assassin's Creed community. I would like to point out that some of these topics may seem or announced years ago, but if they've never been announced or talked about since, then I'll highlight them again if I believe there's a chance there's going to be something happening soon about them. And that quietly links into the first highlight, and that is the Assassin's Creed anime that was first announced back in 2017 by the showrunner of the Netflix drama Castlevania. We've not seen anything, we've not heard anything, we just know that the showrunner said, hey, I'm doing an anime with Ubisoft for Assassin's Creed. Great franchise, it's going to be epic. Now if you haven't watched the Castlevania anime, I would highly recommend it because it is true to the original games. It's quite gory, quite violent, and it does centre around Dracula and his entire fantastical castle design, and the whole anime is just beautifully designed. And this does give hope on how they're going to bring the series. They did try a media for Assassin's Creed in the film, but I do believe, and I don't know if I'm the only one, that it was too rushed. You know, for Assassin's Creed it needs to be fleshed out. You can't just say, this is past, this is present, it's all happening at 100 miles an hour, give it an hour, you're all done. I think a good 10 episode anime should work, maybe a couple of seasons, so maybe the first season is like setting the pieces up, second season explaining them more, third season, conclusion, anime done, move on. You know, something like that. It doesn't have to be a new assassin per season, it could just be one assassin that you follow. But that's a different topic, and the reason I'm bringing this up is Castlevania Season 3 is finished. It's out on Netflix now, fantastic, go watch it. And this kind of makes me think maybe now is the time that they're going to start notifying more about the show. Because doing a bit of research, a typical 13-minute episode of anime takes 6 to 8 weeks to make, but episodes like Simpsons and South Park can do it under a week. And I don't think they're going to crunch it to a week, but 6 to 8 weeks, maybe 10 episodes, it's going to take about 6 months. And if you do the maths, 6 months from, I think Castlevania Season 3 was dropped in February, I haven't watched it yet, I just know it was dropped, is about 6 months in February, is about the 10th month, which is October, and if you do your math a bit, like I'm trying to do in my head, the 10th month is October, which will be the new Assassin's Creed game. Coincidence? I think not. But this is a worrying sign, because what if it's going to be another multiple choice game, multiple endings, you want to get canon storyline, you have to watch the anime. What if it's that, you know? Blech. If it is, I'm going to be falling out because I really hate the fact that I had to buy a book to get a canon story for Odyssey. Or, and this is a big speculation, but it's one I will stand by with close to my heart and one I've defended in the Assassin's Creed community since Kotaku from the Division 2 and Joe Raptor, which is a really cool YouTuber, check him out, has announced the Assassin's Creed Ragnarok or Kingdom. And the point I'm trying to defend is every Assassin's Creed is built from what the creators want. However, there is already an Assassin's Creed comic, which is, I can't remember the name, sorry, Last Descendant, that's the one, and in the final series, they go to Viking Bluetooth, Harald Bluetooth. I've talked about the piece of evenly hand, which was the trident, and what if the anime is that comic? And you probably think, well, what's the significance? Well, the significance is a comic that's pre-built Viking lore, and then a Viking game. Then why don't they show this anime series with the whole lore, and then the game ties into the comic? And we know that a lot of anime comes from manga, which is Japanese comics, and we know Castlevania anime came from the Castlevania games. One thing fans have been clamouring for, including me, is an answer to a lot of mysteries that have been dumped in comics. For example, the Minerva timeline, that was ended in a comic. And there's a lot of comics and a lot to see, but not a lot of people can read them, or they haven't been able to find them. Bloodstones, which was the Vietnam continuation of Assassin's Creed Templars, I think it was. I haven't found it, but that was in French for quite a while before it got translated to English. So what if Ubisoft has actually decided, hang on a minute, we'll get a successful showrunner that's done a successful Castlevania series. Instead of recreating the games we've played, why don't we recreate the comics? And then people can finally learn about the stories in the comics without the comics. And that is a long life. You know, there's Last Descendants, which seems really epic. There's the Templar stories in there, which looks really cool. And there's Bloodstone, which looks stunning. I think it's Vietnam and World War II. I don't research comics, I do apologise. But if we go back to Assassin's Creed Ragnarok theories, which I'll highlight that in another highlight. If Assassin's Creed Vikings had a Last Descendant anime where you watch the Last Descendants redo a story in Viking time, and then this game ties in, this further cements that the comics are part of the Assassin's Creed lore, and it is a really sweet way for people to say, well, hang on a minute, now I understand. Maybe Layla actually has a crossover connection. Maybe the assassins lost the trident and you're going back to see what went wrong. You know, tie it all in. And this will be really, really cool to see. And I don't know when we're going to see this or if it's true. I just know that Castlevania Season 3 is finished now. It's tied up. It's done. No one said anything about Season 4 yet, which means if he's done with that, then this should be the right time to jump onto the anime, especially with the new game coming out, and especially since Ubisoft did make a new TV show with Apple TV this year, and I think it was announced last year, I can't remember the name, but this is the perfect time for Ubisoft to dip their foot in the waters and branch out. There's comics that can be made into anime, we need them. They're probably worried because of the movie's reception, but trust me, the movie sucked, in my opinion, because it was too fast. That's all I'm going to say. So on to another highlight this week, and this highlight is very intriguing and confusing, and that is a new update for Assassin's Creed Odyssey has just dropped, but the support for Odyssey was supposed to have ended last year after the final Atlantis DLC. But the weirdest thing about this new DLC, new update, is that they've added an Ezio armor set, which isn't an outfit, it's a fully fleshed out armor set with really cool set abilities. You can, if you go into the game now, you can see the set bonuses. On a parry, it gives you a 100% cooldown on the hero strike, which if you think about it, if you time it perfectly, it's just like the old-fashioned counter system, which I love and I hate. You know, I like to fight my opponents. I don't like standing in the corner constantly parrying. That's what I didn't like about the old games after a while. But I'd love to see an Odyssey, and it looks blimmin' sweet. Sadly, you can't get it yet. No one can. It's free, but we need to we need to complete community events. We don't know what they are. We're still waiting on news. Any news I get, if it comes after this episode is aired, I will drop them on my social media, Facebook and Twitter, for everyone to see. I do know from Joraptor, who pointed this out on YouTube, again, go check him out. He's shown in the video, if you go to the game itself, which I'm on my PlayStation now, I will do it while I'm on air quickly. You can go to the update log, which is a new feature I didn't even know existed, but if you go to update history, that's the one, you'll see added support for running Assassin's Creed Odyssey in trial mode and then miscellaneous bug fixes. And trial mode is, why would they trial this game now? And then maybe that is what this armor is for. They trial the game for a weekend to get this Ezio armor by doing a community event, so it's a free weekend to play and download the game in a trial. You then get the armor by doing a community event, so maybe like a Trials of the Gods, which is what I think. No, wait, no, this is for running Assassin's Creed Trial, not ignore me. But maybe it's a huge community event, so maybe a total number of assassination kills, stealth kills. Maybe we've all got to do it in a weekend, and everybody who takes part builds up. And I think this would be amazing. Could you imagine every Assassin's Creed Odyssey player, ones who own it and ones in a trial mode, coming together to do one of those bounty missions that's on there, you know, kill so many Spartan or Athenian warriors, do so many conquest battles. It was so cool. Imagine get 1,000 assassinations in that weekend, everyone doing that together, and it'll get everyone to act like an assassin. Maybe 100 hero strike abilities used, all tracked, and once it's unlocked for everyone. And then that's just a badass way for everyone to get back into Odyssey, and then they can keep playing this game. But I think it also may hint at what's coming next. Maybe there is actually a reason for it. Maybe there's an Ezio related announcement coming soon, because it's an Ezio Roman outfit. Some have speculated that the next Assassin's Creed game isn't Kingdom or it isn't Viking, it's Roman. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Viking. I've seen enough key art, some leaks, which I'll probably highlight another week to just say, yeah, Viking's coming, it's what we're getting. So that's all that's been highlighted this week. I hope we do see a new anime news soon, because I'm hyped for that. I hope we all can take part in this Ezio outfit, because I really want it. Ezio is one of the greats. Very well done. I think the Ezio collection could have done with a bit more tweaking to make it more smoother, but can't fault it. Last thing I want to say before I sign off for the night. This is the coronavirus going round. Everyone's getting sick, and it's very pandemic-y, as it's now been called. So I'm just wishing that anyone who's listening will keep themselves safe, wash their hands, and I hope their families and all them are keeping safe during this rough time. So thank you all for listening, and keep safe.